Hey, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. It is wild to be live today, celebrating being on Twitch a hecking long time, basically. First came back to Twitch. No, I didn't stream for the very first time 4 years ago. There was a brief stint of, I want to say back in 2015. I don't even remember what the year is now. 2014 or 15. I streamed on Twitch for a bit. Ended up stopping doing that. But in June of 2018, 4 years ago now, I started up the stream playing some XCOM. And about a month or two after that, I streamed Slay the Spire for the first time. In June or August, in July or August of 2018. To a viewer, one viewer initially, then three, I think was my average for the first stream of Slay the Spire. And now, 4 years later, the Spire content consistently draws a crowd of 1,000 people, and there are hundreds upon hundreds of cozy folks who will follow me to any game category, just showing up because they like me, the human person, Baylor. They like the jokes that I make, or at least tolerate them. They like the way that I analyze my decisions. They like being a part of this cozy community. And I'm so grateful for all the people who do that. So I hope that you find something you really like in today's show. I'm going to be revisiting one of my old favorite strategy games, XCOM 2, with the War of the Chosen DLC, which I really think makes the game very enjoyable. Even without any modification. Not playing with any... Ultimately decided not to play with any gameplay mods here for my revisit of XCOM 2. I've just got a couple of quality of life mods. Free camera rotation and a numeric total on the health bars. Let me catch up with all the incredible support and chat here, with people saying hello and welcome and all that. Greetings to Dollar Cave, formerly the Schlub, Junt, Drathamir, Adonis Incarnate, Zonard Stark, Zizification, Cheesy Wiz, O-Card Monster, Star Pilot, Do Not Put Me on Pizza, how's it going, Byroniam, Doofus, Dropkin. I do plan on doing an overview of the difficulty settings before we get it, and talking a little bit about the base gameplay of XCOM. I think this first stream will kind of serve as a tutorial and kind of basic breakdown of all the different mechanics, all the different decisions there are to make in these games, and there's quite a bit. How's it going, 22 TTM? Wake of Insanity, thank you so much for the Prime sub and the 19 months. Teutonic Knight, thanks for 14 months of support. If you've got a sci-fi addiction, Atlas WW, you're in the right place. The things that have kept me returning to XCOM as a game series have definitely been the gorgeous sci-fi visual aesthetics and the really jammin' soundtracks. One of the things that I like most about XCOM 2 in particular, and why I'm choosing to revisit this one and not the former, the XCOM 2012 release, which has still aged really, really well, and I do recommend as a game. But XCOM 2 has, as of the Tactical Legacy Pack, a DLC that was released not that long ago, like well after War of the Chosen released, and many people who have played XCOM 2 or War of the Chosen may not even be aware that there was another DLC that followed. that released for free to everybody, called the Tactical Legacy Pack, which adds a whole bunch of really, really nice features. And one of those features is the ability to choose the soundtrack of the game. And there are 3 different options, 3 complete soundtracks. The soundtrack from XCOM Enemy Unknown, which is what we're going to listen to for today's stream. And I think what I'll do is actually just rotate soundtracks for XCOM streams. So if we stream more, we'll then play with the XCOM 2 or the Chosen, and then the third option is a remastered version of, I wouldn't call it not remastered, but like a modern remix based on the soundtrack to the original 1992 XCOM. With this menu music, which is pretty jammin' too. We'll leave it on there for a minute while I catch up with chat. Board Kid, thanks for 6 months. Dwarven Heart, thank you so much for 4 months. Dwarven Heart says, hey Baylor, congratulations on 1,000 shows. Found you much too late when I discovered my love for Slay the Spire, but I'm happy to be here for 4 months now. Had my first heart kill after 50 hours of playing and could not have done it without ya. So here's to the next 1,000 with you as a viewer. Good to have you, Dwarven Heart. Lord Snow, thank you for 7 months. Also, here's to 4 more. Gaiazilla says, thank you for 7 months. Gaiazilla says, congrats on 4 years and 1,000 shows to one of my favorite streamers on the site. Thanks for all the great content. Thank you. Atlas WW, thanks for 100 bits. Fayley, thanks for the 169 nice bits. Hey Righty, thanks for the Prime sub. I Ate Your Sandwich, thanks for 4 months, 4 years of support. Beards and Bacon, thank you for 20 months. Damn juicy Advent burgers coming right up. Dang, Kodiak's back. That's a lot of waffles. Earlicks, thanks for that full year. You keep supporting. I'll keep doing. How's it going, First Dane? Special guest, the chair. Special guest. Would it be easier to move my entire computer outside this room, or? Let's just say that would be quite a feat of engineering. Mass Effect. I've been thinking about Mass Effect recently at ListWW. Mass Effect and XCOM have a lot of similarities to me mentally. There's a lot of similar themes, visual aesthetics, and sounds. That's right, the Tactical Legacy Pack also added essentially an arcade mode. You could think of it, a 7-mission series that you get to progress through with a fixed set of characters. And you're essentially just playing the tactical missions in succession without any campaign layer in between. Pretty dang fun, actually, to play through a couple of times. Targaryen Tantrum wants a dad joke. I got one for you. Did you hear about the UFO full of aliens that tried to abduct the Pope? They were all excommunicated. Hey, Girl TV, thanks for those congrats. Board Kid 07, thank you for the $50 tip. Board Kid says, our 11-year-old lab's health has been declining for the last 2 months through many sleepless nights. I have exhausted your VODs and the YouTube channel. She passed yesterday and I can't thank you enough for helping you get through it. What you do matters. Sorry to hear about that loss, Board Kid. Thank you again for that support. Sounds like your lab lived a really good life and was well loved. There ain't nothing better than that. Olivia 5K, thanks for that very generous 5 gifts of bomb. Welcome to the Cozy Sub Club, folks. And Malarkey, thanks for the 1,000 bits. I plan to keep being here. I don't know exactly what the stream will look like or exactly what we're gonna do, but I plan to keep being here. Mirrormorphic says, has XCOM changed the way you view percentages? Yes. Yes, it has. I think that XCOM was probably the first game that really helped me get a better understanding of statistics and probability. Just because things are unlikely doesn't mean that they're going to happen. And it's really easy to underestimate how frequently you're supposed to encounter unlikely things. 90% is far lower than you think. Heck, 99% is lower than you'd think. Or 1% is higher than you'd think. The other thing to really consider is, okay, with a 99% or with a 1%, there's only 1 in 100 instances where you should see the unexpected result, right? A 99% chance will succeed 99% of the time and fail only 1 in 100. Likewise, the 1% shot only succeeds 1 in 100, but fails the vast majority of the time. But the thing that's easy to underestimate is how many times you are rolling the dice, how many actions. If you play through an XCOM mission or a longer campaign and you take 300 shots during that progression, then you're likely to see 3 outliers somewhere in there of that variety. And there's all sorts of different kinds of overlapping random elements that can create their own little bell curves. And so those are the sorts of things that have helped me kind of recognize when something is happening because random factors have aligned in an unusual way that I really don't have any control over, versus when something's happened because I made a mistake. That's given me a trained reaction to, I can't help but laugh. But when my opening hand against Jawworm in Slay the Spire is 4 strikes and a Sender's Bane. Doesn't happen that often, but sometimes it does, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. Yeah, perfect time for the choose violence clip. Gorilla Attack says there was a time when you could add runes to your passive abilities in League of Legends, and you had limited slots for those runes. Good players always took 1 slot for a 1% chance to crit, and that was enough to make the difference. It's wild. I can really see that being the difference maker if we're talking about player versus player interactions, especially. This is the unexpected damage that matters the most. Classic mistake of not playing the silent. Never draw 4 strikes on turn 1 again. Okay, I want to listen to our XCOM Enemy Unknown soundtrack here. And I want to talk a little bit about what XCOM is. And what the difficulty levels represent. So, in XCOM, specifically XCOM 2, you're playing the role of a human resistance force that is fighting a guerrilla war against aliens who have occupied Earth, captured all of its major cities and settlements, and are in the process of essentially harvesting humanity for genetic material. We do this by controlling small squads of elite operatives armed with high-tech weapons and essentially a flying Marvel helicarrier that is a base that flies around in the sky. pretty cool. That's right, the major cities that survive their bioweapon assault. There are also zombies basically everywhere. We'll have to deal with those, but they're fun. I would describe XCOM as a fairly challenging turn-based tactics that has a strategy overlayer that you have to play to succeed. The different difficulty levels scale both of those layers in difficulty, and played on Legend, XCOM is a pretty brutally difficult tactics experience. You have to combine strategic decision-making with navigating random chance, and it definitely makes for some serious challenge. If you've heard the rumor that XCOM lies about its 2-hit percentages, that's technically true if you're playing on Rookie or Veteran. On either of these two difficulty levels, then your chance to hit a shot is actually slightly higher than the indicated percentage as a sort of anti-frustration effect. So I think that means if you're on Rookie or Veteran, you can't miss a 99% shot, because it's actually 100%. But the game will only lie in your, or roll, or cheat the dice in your favor on these easier difficulty levels, and on no difficulty level does the game do the opposite, where it cheats against the player, or in a way that lies to the player disadvantageously. What if there's rounding on the displayed hit percentage? I'd be happy to believe that there's a couple little glitches that can result in some outlying shots. Definitely not a game that's completely full of bugs, even with a few years of patches behind it. So, the various difficulty levels essentially modify pretty much every level of the game. You get more enemies that have better stats with higher hit percentages that do more damage, and your own soldiers will have lower health, basically as you jump up every layer of difficulty. So, on the lowest difficulties, it's quite difficult to have your soldiers perished in a single shot, and you'll be facing smaller numbers of enemies with smaller consequences for failure, whereas on the highest difficulty, you're facing the largest roster of enemies who are easily able to kill your men in a single shot with their high-tech weaponry. And you don't have a lot of room for failure in your campaign. Hey there, Grumpy. No worries. You haven't missed much, as we've barely gotten started yet. The only mod I'm using is free camera rotation. I'm not playing with any gameplay mods. Hey there, Jobin. XCOM is Gen 1 misses. Yeah, basically. There's a 1 in 255 chance that you will be sad, and you won't know why. So, something to note is that there are a few advanced option modifiers you're allowed to play with in XCOM 2, particularly those who dislike the fact that there are turn timers on missions. There is an option to make them twice as long. What I'm going to select is, I want to start with a skirmisher ally from the War of the Chosen expansion. Yeah, that expansion adds 3 factions, each with their own kind of special hero-type soldier class. And of the 3, the skirmishers are absolutely my personal favorite for... I think they're probably one of the weaker ones, but... because they're not Templars. But I find them very, very cool, personally, so I want to make extensive use of the skirmishers for this campaign. Corpse Gaming asks, have I seen the Twitch integration mod? I didn't know that there was one being made for this. Somebody else mentioned it earlier, this being in a early state. I'm just impressed that anybody's managed to... What does that even look like, actually? See, anything else I want to say? Actually, any broad questions, I suppose, before I begin here. Gonna have a few cutscenes to watch, and then we'll be dumped straight into the infamous Gatecrasher mission of XCOM 2. Before you really get to choose anything at all, we must complete one tactical mission with only rookie soldiers on Legend difficulty, which is something that anyone can fail at. Anyone who's watched a lot of XCOM 2 streams knows that even the best players wipe on Gatecrasher occasionally. So I might do that. We'll see. Do I already have a character pool made? No, I think I'll be using... Oh yeah, that was one of the things I wanted to tweak and configure, was create a channel point redemption for the XCOM names. That's probably how I'm going to do it, is through the channel point. I'm also not going to give names to rookies, because I think they're just likely to die. You get a name when you get a class. So I'll open that up later. Perfect. That's right, you don't want to get too emotionally attached. They're statistically not likely to make it. Cool Pack says, well, I understand the game if I've never seen or play it. I'm going to be doing my best to explain all the different mechanics and aspects of XCOM. I know there are a lot of folks in the crowd who are here for the man in the chair, or the man that used to be in the chair, more so than the games. So I know there's a lot of people who have not seen this before. It's also now over 5 years old. This game came out in 2016. So it's, if you haven't been in the loop since then, this one may have flown under your radar. They're dual wielding in this game. There are soldiers that use 2 different weapons, usually sniper rifle and pistol, or shotgun and sword. I don't think there's anything that would be described as dual wielding. In the future, there is only... In the grim darkness of the future, there is only neon. And yes, there are a whole bunch of abusable things in XCOM. XCOM, as a franchise, has what I would call an inverse difficulty curve. And this is also true in Battle Brothers, I think, for a lot of the same reasons. At the start of the game, the player has the least amassed resources, the least different tactical options, and the greatest consequences for failure. So the very beginning of the game ends up the most difficult part of the game, and the further you progress, the more durable your campaign becomes, and the more options you have to take advantage of. So the more solutions you can end up finding to all of the problems of the game. And that usually means that you struggle most early on, and once you kind of get something going, it's easy to snowball. But it's also very easy to fizzle out right in the early game and just kind of lose everything. And that is ultimately something that I do find to be a bit of a problem in these games. It's not something that makes the games bad games, but it is a flaw, I think. It would be nice if the difficulty escalated more reasonably, and certain mods have helped with that. I think that in particular, the Long War mod for the first game did a really good job of that. Drovkin asks, have I played Vampire Survivors yet? I've seen a lot of people playing it, but I haven't taken too much of a close look at it yet. Alright, anything else I want to change here? I don't think so. I don't think so. So we're going to be starting a new campaign on Legend. We again note have a skirmisher ally, so there will be a skirmisher here on Gatecrasher. So let's deploy, well, let's watch our beginning cutscene, and then deploy into our Gatecrasher mission. I'm not going to be playing on Iron Man. If you watch the stream a lot, you know that, generally speaking, I'm not particularly interested in using the save-quit features of games for tactical advantage or to undo my own mistakes. So I do plan on using that as little as possible. But I don't want to deal with forced no reloading, because I would like to be able to not have to restart the entire campaign repeatedly in the early game if things go deeply awry. I'll happily admit to being rusty here. I would like to play through and progress the game on the highest difficulty. So if that means restarting a mission once or twice, that's what I'll do. Ideally, though, we get to go through it on the max difficulty with no reloads at all. That is my personal goal. But not what I'd prefer to do. There's also ways to accidentally lose your save file by playing on Iron Man that are easily avoided if you don't actually enable Iron Man. Not going to play with the narrative content. We'll have a sort of fully random start to our campaign here. I'm actually rather curious to see which of the Chosen we'll end up running into first.
Accessing the feed now. We're in. But I don't know for how long. You seeing this? Way too much security, even for Advent.
That's no ordinary gene therapy clinic. They were telling the truth.
Or they're leading us into a trap. A really obvious trap. We'd need an army to march in there right now.
I've got a better idea. Outrider, this is Central. Go.
Placed upon us, mistakes are bound to happen.
I bet there.
It wasn't our fault. Please.
There's no need for any of this. I will do what you ask of me. I just need additional
Advent
time.
here is the alien occupying force.
Did you say?
The Avengers. Dang it. Hold on, I'm just gonna skip that cutscene actually, because we've got a sound glitch.
Excitement continues to build as city
Apologies
centers
there.
across the globe prepare for the 20th anniversary anniversary of Unification Day.
Thousands line up at the site of the Great Accord, celebrating the formation of the Advent Coalition.
Keeping with their promise to humanity, 12 new gene therapy clinics will be opening in select cities by the end of the new year.
Despite the attempted attack by fringe elements, operations at the new facility in Paris thankfully remain unaffected.
In response to the unprovoked intrusion on the eve of our most beloved celebration, the speaker reaches out to us.
A small number of dissidents again repeat the mistakes of the old world.
Striking as we celebrate the benevolent savior.
Yeah, the mistake I made there was clicking outside the game during a cutscene.
And compassion. Yet these trivial actions
Apologies.
Will never break the bond between humanity and the elders.
Peacekeeping forces have already made several preemptive arrests of known collaborators. Advent again assures all citizens that today's celebrations will continue as planned.
Perfect.
I think they did a reasonably good job with the cutscenes in XCOM 2. Ends up a little comic booky at times, especially with the chosen anime wannabe alien human hybrids, but not necessarily a bad thing. I think it's reasonably well done.
Definitely got their hands full today.
Stay focused.
Again, the premise is that aliens have occupied the vast majority of the Earth. Alien-human hybrid soldiers, the Advent, are being used to oppress, herd, and process the civilians of humanity. Encouraged to visit gene therapy clinics that are actually being used to transform them or harvest them. Small group of operatives calling themselves XCOM lead a guerrilla resistance. That's us.
Received. Loud and clear. Okay, Gatecrasher. Your turn.
It's time the aliens and the rest of the Advent administration learn that we can hit them where it hurts. So we're moving into the city center to strike a high-profile target. Deploy and approach the designated position. Neutralize any hostile contacts and secure the site.
You got it, bud. Yeah, a full playthrough of the campaign of XCOM 2 is definitely on the order of 30 to 50 hours. That is partially going to depend on your difficulty level.
Place the X4 charges at the designated position.
Legend in particular makes the campaign last longer. There's going to be more missions that you have to play through. So I believe that a Legend campaign ends up, on average, definitely a bit longer. The benevolent alien overlords are merely extending human life and curing diseases with their advanced technology. And starting a very successful and delicious burger franchise. I'll have you know. So, here is the tactical layer of XCOM, and definitely the part that is the exciting and fun bit. In tactical missions, you have a squad of 4 to 6 soldiers. I think 6 is the maximum by default. And they perform missions in turn-based tactical style, in lovingly rendered 3D sci-fi fashion. Everybody has 2 actions. Each soldier has 2 actions they can take on their turn, indicated by 2 little arrows.
We, the skirmishers, were created by the false gods of this world to serve.
Fundamentally, the base gameplay is quite similar to Battle Brothers, if you've been watching that,
We
but
retain all that we were and more.
a lot more complicated visually, of course.
Serves us well in our cause.
And usually with a lot more things that you can do with one unit.
None can stand opposed to us.
Skyfish, thanks for 22 months of support. Just 1,000 more. Oh, somebody was asking, will this XCOM playthrough end up on YouTube? I do not think it'll end up on our edited YouTube channel. However, it will end up on the !Archives YouTube channel. A full archive of the stream is, of course, available on that 24/7. So if you ever want to see any of the content that's been on the stream, you can see it on the Baylord Archives YouTube channel. Except for the forbidden stream. Yeah, there's a few exceptions to that broad statement. So, in XCOM 2, usually you have a mission objective of some kind that's a bit more complicated than killing all enemies. Rarely is it actually required that you defeat all the enemies in a mission of XCOM 2. Usually you start your missions in concealment. That's indicated by the kind of hooded icon at the top of the screen here. And that means that our soldiers are difficult to detect. We can move forward into concealed terrain without too much problem.
They're disciplined and well equipped, but their obedience makes them predictable.
And I think we want to get a read on where the enemies are. This is one of the only missions in XCOM where we can take our time, so I think we want to poke around with our soldiers and see what we're dealing with. We spotted a handful of Advent soldiers here on this first mission. I think there's 3 groups of enemies that we're going to have to deal with. So we want to take advantage of the concealment to get into an advantageous tactical position before we do anything, and I think maybe that building will be good for that.
A long run.
Yeah, so 2 actions. With an action you can move, you can shoot, you can reload, or you can use a soldier ability. Some actions will end your turn when you take them, usually shooting, unless the soldier has a special ability of some kind. For example, and we have such a soldier here, the Skirmisher is a special character that we start with. They have notably 1 higher health than the other characters, and the Skirmisher can shoot without ending their turn. So they can shoot as an action and then move, or shoot and then shoot again. See, we want to stay in cover here and kind of, I think, get on top of this building, perhaps.
Moving.
It's always a little difficult knowing where to go in, How can I get up? Is there a door there? Yeah.
Moving quickly.
Solid copy. Je vais vers la position.
Avoiding detection while in concealment can be a real hassle. There are usually on missions civilians who will alert Advent forces if they spot you, or surveillance towers, which will do the same. I'm going to run through the inside of this building. That's going to be a bit weird. Oh, no, there's a pipe to go up. That's better.
That's affirmative.
Here's the pipe. So we could ambush and neutralize those 3 Advent soldiers, but I'd prefer we can do a little better than that. Hopefully there are no civilians on the roof.
Moving to designated coordinates.
The bird is not an Advent soldier, thankfully. Note if you make a movement that breaks glass, that will also reveal you in concealment.
Rolling.
I'm going to creep forward here. Would like to get this done on the first try, but we'll see.
Advancing quickly.
Make sure we move in such a way that we don't get spotted by the Advent there.
Go, go, go. Allez, on bouge.
Jimrick says, I remember people playing Legend Iron Man restarting Gatecrasher for an entire stream. I believe it. I think I've seen that myself. That's why I'm going to be cautious to try to avoid doing that.
Agreed distance.
We can get height advantage on our initial engagements here. We are much more likely to have a successful time. I also just kind of want to scout out the level, essentially. See where the groups of enemies are, so that I avoid the really big mistake that you can make in XCOM, which is running into enemies before you're ready to deal with them. Enemies in XCOM games can only take offensive actions after they have spotted you. Usually this is referred to in terms of activating pods in XCOM, but essentially...
Moving to position.
Enemies can't take any offensive actions until they've played their little cutscene where they bark a noise at you, move intimidatingly, and then move for free. Oh, alright, we're spotted, so we're engaging now. Move nice and close to the building. That's pretty fun, actually. We'll be able to take some seriously advantageous shots from here. But I wouldn't say that went perfectly. Not quite what I wanted to have happen. But here we are. So, now this squad is active. And that means that on the enemy turn, they'll begin to take offensive stuff. We want to neutralize as many of them as possible before that happens. Is that like pulling a pack of monsters in an MMO dungeon? Yeah, that's a good analogy. They won't start to do anything. For example, there are other enemies on this level, but they're not going to come in and try to shoot at me until they are activated. Even though these guys are here and could theoretically notify them. So I like our little target preview here. We're able to see when we're moving a soldier. There's a little icon that'll appear. You see this little target icon. When I preview a move with the mouse, that little target icon tells me whether I can see them or not from that location. So I can see that by moving here to this high cover, we have an elevated flanking shot on this guy. He's taking cover behind the tree, which provides him partial defense to anything in front of him. But here he's flanked. Flanking shots indicated by a yellow head icon indicate that your target is not receiving the benefit of cover, and that means you get a bonus 40% chance to crit. So flanking is usually a death sentence for whatever's getting shot at.
Target disabled.
Good job, rookie Elizabeth Harris. May you survive this battle long enough. Might want to lob a grenade. Neutralize another one of them. Can't be stupid about it, though. It should be safe-ish. So, when line of sight isn't there, or when you don't have a reliable hit, you can try throwing... Ah, there we go. There's a secret tile. You can try throwing a grenade. Grenades deal guaranteed damage. No 2-hit roll required, and usually destroy cover. Come on, I saw it. I saw it. This is a really janky throw. Usually they're a bit more reliable than this. In fact, they mostly fix this in XCOM 2. Come on, I saw it. If I can only hit the cover, that'll be fine. I swear there was a way to hit him with it. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Once you have it selected, take your hand off the mouse and hit enter. They mostly fixed this being a thing in XCOM 2, but I'm really shocked we found it on the first grenade throw. But arcing a throw off a roof is definitely the weird spot. Alright, and that outright killed the Advent soldier too. Perfect. So, use Justice. 73% chance to just kill this guy. I think that's probably what I'll do. Use the grapple to pull a humanoid target to you and deliver a ripjack strike.
I bring justice.
This is the special skirmisher ability. They can yoink a guy and melee them. That's pretty good. Okay, so we dealt with those Advent soldiers. There should be no more. But there are other enemies on the map. We must neutralize all of them, and then plant the charges on the thingy. Getting kills with the grenade does deprive you of some loot. It is true. However, lack of loot is definitely better than getting a shot at. There they are, okay. Unfortunate that we found that with our yellow move.
We're not sure whether to chalk it up to training or stricter mind control.
So we probably don't necessarily want to be on the roof anymore. Note that being on the roof gives us a 2-hit advantage over them, but doesn't make us ourselves harder to hit here. It's a little bit awkward. Officer's in pretty good cover. This guy is easier to kill. Let's see that guy from there. Definitely don't want to stand in a fire. Here I have an elevated flanking shot. That looks pretty good. We've revealed an Advent officer here. These things have more health and can designate essentially a target to be more accurately shot at. Skirmisher can move and shoot here if necessary. We want to be careful about moving too far afield, though. There is one more group of enemies on the map, and if we encounter that at the same time, we're going to have a real problem. That guy, interesting. Can't see the officer from there. That's a pretty good move, then. I have a grenade here, but I don't like it very much. I think we'd much rather shoot this guy with flanking shots. Is there any way to get him but not the officer in range? No, okay. I'm going to risk Cassandra here. No difference, right?
On the move.
And we're going to flank this one trooper. 85% here. Don't think we're going to be able to kill the officer this turn. Good. So we'd like to neutralize one of the 2 remaining threats, if possible. I think we wanted to move Juliet here. I might even overwatch to prevent the officer from moving. So you're done with your move. That's right. I see the problem here. Any easy flanks? Look like it. I'd like to end the skirmisher's turn in full cover. We're gonna go jump down here so that we can flank and shoot next turn. Even throw a grenade at the officer right now, which might put him into low cover. Let's do that. Getting rid of that officer is a high priority here. We only have a few grenades per mission. Yeah, he's in low cover now. So easier to take height advantage shots against, but I think I want to lock him into position here. So I'm going to put this soldier in full cover and use our Overwatch ability. Overwatch fires on the first enemy who moves. Generally speaking, the AI know not to move in a way that would result in being shot. That easily could have, with bad luck, just killed our soldier outright. Fortunately, 2 misses thanks to being in full cover. But that's the mercy of RNG, for sure. Now we have some easy flanks that we can get. Nobody ended up dead, so we're in a good position here. We even have this flank shot, although I don't want to, again, run too far afield here. Revealing new tiles in the fog of war risks bringing additional enemies into the engagement. That's one of the hardest things to deal with in XCOM, is how do you not only win the current engagement, but do so in a way that doesn't overextend yourself, that doesn't bring new unwanted foes into the mix. So I think we're going to have Elizabeth stay where she is and take a shot from high terrain here. Nice shot. Alright, that guy dropped some loot. To get the loot, we have to move into that area within a certain number of turns. Do that next turn, though. Right now, we just want to finish this guy off. Alright. Luck is with us on this first mission. So, don't overextend ourselves. Don't reveal new tiles this turn. In fact, you're just going to stand still.
Non-evade detection.
Right, because of that. If I had moved forward on the previous turn, we would have run into this tough customer, with most of my soldiers having ended their turn. Nice try. So that's our first actual alien, a sectoid. These sectoids, unlike the ones from the first game, they're kind of an alien-human hybrid. They are freakishly nude, bald, armed with a plasma gun on their little arm, and capable of psionic abilities, including raising zombies from dead soldiers. They're kind of mean in XCOM 2. I do want that loot next turn. The soldier that came with the sectoid is going to get super flanked, though. Tufko says, is ammo a concern in this game? Yes. Actually, let me move my camera so that you can see the ammo. Go right here. Definitely recommend mouse and keyboard for XCOM. So, ammo is... It's not a hard limit. You essentially, the number of shots in the gun depletes, and then your soldier has to take a reload action. There's no limit to the number of reload actions you can take. So you have unlimited ammo, but there is a limit to how many turns you can fire consecutively. There's a lot of ways to improve the ammo concern, too, in XCOM 2. So it's not often a limiting factor. But it is in the early game. Something that we have to worry about. So, the sectoid is the tough target here. Sectoids have 10 HP, quite durable. But we should pick off the soldier, because we don't want to have 2 enemies on the field. Soldier's the easier kill with the much lower health, so is our higher priority here. Threat assessment is a very, very big part of XCOM play. Which is the easiest enemy to kill that removes the most threatening, the most potential damage to your own soldiers from the field? For us, that's take one shot, remove one guy. Easy choice. So 46 is from up there. It's not the worst thing in the world to take elevated terrain shots at the Sectoid. You can Overwatch.
Launch order confirmed.
I can see it from the high cover here. Perfect.
Roger that.
Sectoid can't do much to us when we're in full cover ourselves.
Heading out.
And then we're going to Overwatch where it can see us so that it doesn't move. Or that it gets shot if it does. Alright, good choice, sir. Well, that was a bold choice by the Sectoid. Tiny Toaster Guy says, is XCOM a roguelite? I would not describe it as such, but it does have some of the elements of roguelites, including significant random generation in the campaign. Your starting position on the map, the exact missions that appear, the maps that you play the missions on, these are all randomly generated, so the game is highly replayable. But it doesn't follow the format of a roguelite fully. Yes, the zombie will die if we kill the Sectoid, or if we disable the Sectoid by any other means here. Alright, let's grab this loot.
I go as ordered.
Advanced Scope, that's a weapon add-on. I don't remember if we're allowed to use that immediately or not.
But for the dead, the aliens have found a way to mind control them now.
Now I can't see the Sectoid. Interesting.
Changing position.
Other thing the Skirmisher can do is, once every few turns, they can grapple. As a free action, doesn't end their turn. They can get up into elevated terrain. I actually want to go back here. I'm going to overwatch the two soldiers on the roof. See what the Sectoid does.
Scanning. Good treat. Come get some.
That's what I thought. Oh, almost.
I got nothing. He's in my... I can't stop it.
Yes, in XCOM 2, there are mind control creatures on the first mission. Spooky stuff, huh? So, the Sectoid used its Mind Spin ability to mind control our soldier here. I think that lasts for 1 or 2 turns. So, that unit is a hostile unit, and the zombies on the roof, and you can see the soldiers out of ammo. But what they are not out of is grenades, and if we make a blue move here and chuck a grenade, we get 1 guaranteed damage on the Sectoid. Sure, the corpse is blown up, but, this is a scenario that I think warrants an explosive use. So, let's get out of here. That mind control is not a guaranteed hit, no. The ability that the Sectoid uses has a random outcome. I think it's either stun, mind control, and I think there might be a third outcome. And there's a chance to resist it too. So there was a 1 in 3 or 1 in 4 for the mind control outcome, and the soldier had a chance to resist too.
Here, catch.
Area is secure. We're not picking up any inbound contacts. Scanners are clear. Menace 1-5, we have a limited window to act before Advent responds. We need to get those charges planted on the double.
You got it, buddy.
5/5. Copy that.
We didn't get gate crashed. It's a good day.
I go quickly.
The roof overwatches really carry this this scenario.
Merci.
That was all the enemies, by the way. Yeah, and we know that because the objective was complete.
I will not waver.
So there's obviously no need for Overwatch.
Menace 1-5, we have a limited window to act before Advent responds. We need to get those charges planted on the double.
Panic, disorient, and mind control. Thank you.
Menace
The three
1-5,
three possible
rendezvous at
options.
The extraction point. Status confirmed. Squad is clear. Detonating charges.
Symbolic victory achieved. So nobody got hit. That's a perfect outcome. Very happy with that. We did get a couple shots taken at us. Again, could have lost a soldier if the dice had rolled differently. But otherwise, pretty well done.
XCOM refuses to let go of the ways of the old world. They will continue their wanton and reckless crimes until the entire world burns around them. We are grateful to the
Any key? Where's the any key?
in ending this menace once
Oh, there it is.
End the Elder's false vision. That is the purpose of all skirmishers. Until it is done, there can be no other path for us.
So our 3 rookies each get promoted.
Operating some of our most advanced equipment. Specialists deployed.
When a rookie gets promoted, they get a class, which is assigned at random.
Combat or field medic duty.
You'll get one of each for the first 4 promoted soldiers, though. So we'll get one each of specialist, heavy, ranger, and sharpshooter.
Just like it sounds, our sharpshooters engage enemy targets with pinpoint accuracy from extreme range. They're also trained in pistol marksmanship for the occasional close encounter.
Sharpshooters have squad sight, letting them target things outside visual range if they've got a teammate spotting for them. Put a sharpshooter in an elevated position at the back of the map, and they can provide threatening damage to just about anything.
The Ranger serves as our primary reconnaissance unit.
Soul Survivor, thanks for those 1,000 bits.
Concealment while engaging enemies at close
Please
range.
don't miss. Yeah, I'll crank up the volume a bit, specifically on the difficulty, on the dialogue here. So that folks can hear Bradford a little bit better. Here, let's... The opposite of the usual problem.
Already there.
Pick up both a little bit. Rexter, thanks for 12 months of support. Okay, before I go into any of the strategic layer XCOM stuff, I desperately need a quick bathroom break, so I will be right back in a few minutes. When I return, I'll talk about what's going on the base here. Be right back, folks. Don't go nowhere. Oh dear.
Under one of these command consoles, there's gonna be hell to pay.
Commander to the research labs. Commander to the research labs.
Commander. Okay. Thank you for that moment of patience, everybody. So, we're dumped into the kind of cutout view of the Avenger, which is our mobile XCOM base. From here, we launch tactical operations and fly around the world in order to interact with the scattered remnants of humanity. Look at that shattered cityscape in the background. That's pretty cool looking. So, the commander's attention is required several places. First up, Dr. Tigan.
Impressive, isn't it? Capable of generating immense power, yet completely harmless to human life. If only the same could be said for the rest of the aliens' technology, Commander. Dr. Richard Tigan, Chief Science Officer. I am responsible for the entirety of our research here, as well as the procedure you so recently underwent. Welcome to my
He's talking about a
such as it is.
Advent chip that was removed from our brain.
Central may have told you, but we found something while removing you from the alien stasis suit. A device implanted directly in your occipital lobe. Had I access to the equipment available to me during my tenure at Advent, I would already know the precise nature of its function. However, given time and your approval, of course, Commander, I assure you, I will find out. Which brings to light an additional point. Though aspects of this facility are indeed impressive, I am but one man. Were you to direct additional support personnel and resources to me, I could substantially improve the speed of all our research. Farewell, Commander.
So, here in the research lab, we choose research to perform. Research is the main way of unlocking new stuff in XCOM. So if we want better gear for our soldiers, we need to research it. If we want story progression, we need to research it. Everything's done via research, essentially. Here at the start of the game, we have just 3 choices: modular weapon, hybrid materials, or alien biotech. And I think we want modular weapons so that we can actually use the scope that we found, this loot during the first mission. The magnetic rifles used by Advent's forces are incredibly complex weapons. The rifles themselves self-destruct when their original operator dies, but with a little effort, we might be able to use any recovered parts to improve our soldiers' own weapons.
I do find that area of research to be among the more intriguing options available. We'll begin work immediately. I'll send word when a complete report is available. I certainly admire the courage and tenacity displayed by our troops in the field.
See, maybe I want my face to go.
Well-armed, well-trained enemy, and yet they never waver in their loyalty to the cause.
Over here, actually. That feels more right for XCOM. We'll see how that is. That way I'm not blocking the event queue as much. To engineering! Our Lady Shen.
Okay. Reworked your repulsors with some of the parts I salvaged from their old engine. Should fix that stabilization problem you had. Come on, Rover. It'll work. Commander! Getting our tech to talk to theirs is harder than you'd think. Lily Shen, Chief Engineer, at your service. You were probably expecting to see my father. In all that's happened, I'm guessing Central didn't tell you yet. He's gone. Dad gave everything he had to get us this far. This entire ship is his life's work. I know he would have loved to show you around the place himself. He used to talk about you a lot. You can be sure I'm ready to finish what he started. Might not look it, but from here, I can fabricate pretty much anything you come up with. And with a little more help, well, you'd be amazed with what I can do. It was an honor to finally meet you, Commander.
Rick and 80, thank you so much for the very generous 5 gifted subs. And the many years of viewership, sir. Gutsy Bat, thanks for 2 months of support. Jen Curl says, XCOM 2 is a bit War Crimes the game. Feels kind of fitting, honestly. A guerrilla war against a non-human, technologically superior force. You better believe people are going to humanity would go to any lengths necessary to make that happen. So here at the engineering lab, we can build items.
How big of a difference some of these things can make in combat, Commander. With a few supplies, I can manufacture anything we need in no time.
At the start, we don't have a whole lot that we can make, but one thing that I will create is a flashbang grenade. Maybe I'll make a medkit too. For 50 of our 125 supplies. It's the major currency in this game, supplies. Flashbang grenades disorient and disrupt enemies and have a bigger radius than regular grenades, which is particularly useful. Being flashbang prevents a lot of enemies from using their special abilities, particularly sectoids who are hit by a flashbang grenade. Cannot maintain mind control over an enemy soldier, so if we run into a situation like we saw in Gatecrasher, we can use a flashbang grenade to solve it. Roguelites but with more commitment. Yeah, that's a good way to describe Arctic Mists. You're progressing a campaign strategically, so it's a bigger, broader battle with a lot of small conflicts within it.
Do you ever regret leaving the city? You must miss some of it. The food, the warm beds.
Honestly, none of that really bothers me. What I miss the most is my equipment.
I hadn't thought about that. Advent probably had a pretty nice lab set up for you.
There was certainly no shortage of resources on their side.
Don't worry. I'm sure the commander will
Tons of
find
little
something nice
dialogue
for you.
between the characters in this game.
There's room for us to expand our facilities on board the Avenger, Commander. But
On the Avenger, we have a
space for construction.
3x4 grid in which we can build facilities, starting with only one slot available. The rest has to be cleared by engineers, which we currently don't have. I'm going to start with a resistance ring here, allowing us to perform covert options, operations. That's going to be the first thing that we start to build on. As we open up more available spots, we'll be able to add more capabilities to XCOM. We'll also need more power, as the facilities that we have are limited in that way. A dad joke for the crowd, courtesy of McLow. There are many, many different buildings that we can construct in XCOM, but I figured we had to start with our Piece de Resistance. Let's see here. So, once we've settled everything at the base, the engineering, the research are the main things. What we should also do is have a look at the soldiers. Few soldiers. So, on Legend, we start with a roster of 12 different soldiers. I tend to find that War of the Chosen does a much better job of requiring you to have a larger roster of men to be successful. So, we'll probably even exceed this number on sometimes. So, let me open up the way that we get the names here. Apologies for the sound cutting out when I click outside the game. I don't believe I have an option to change that at the moment. Make that the usual 5,000. 4 limit. Save. Go. Perfect. Perfect. Vela Black, Adonis Incarnate, Hyrule, and Enigma. And we're just going to give away these top 4 names currently. So, I'm allowed to change all this, right? Vela Black. Eventually, nicknames will be unlocked. Adonis Incarnate will be our specialist. Our ranger will be Hyrule. Rule. You got it. The Enigma Engine. Who has the nickname Gravedigger? I'm actually not allowed to change the nickname until you reach the level where you would normally get a nickname. The soldier was given a nickname prematurely because of reasons. Edward Nigma, I like that. The Riddler. How's it going, Headless BTW? This is going to be a, by and large, vanilla run. We just have a camera rotation mod enabled. So gameplay-wise, totally vanilla.